We've talked about the language that you use to become a Nazir. We've talked about the different kinds of Nazir, at least three different kinds. We're going to see a fourth one today, actually, but we've seen three different kinds. A Nazir like Samson, who can't ever cut his hair, but who can touch dead bodies. A Nazir, something called a Nazir Olam, someone who's always a Nazir. That's like Avshalom, who can actually cut his hair once a year. And then a regular Nazir seems to be just for 1 month. And we'll learn about a fourth kind a bit later, but the Mishnah, we're now in the third Mishnah of the first chapter of Nazir. The Mishnah just wants to clarify the principle. Stam nezirut shloshim yom. An ordinary, a standard nezirut is 30 days. That's the regular amount. So when you say you're going to become a Nazir, that means 30 days. And Maimonides explains, they attach this principle. Rotzelomar, that is to say, what they're wanting to say, stam nezirut shloshim yom, that a normal nezirut is 30 days. L'ma shene'emar kadosh yeh, to the verse, he shall be holy. So do you remember when we started to look at the tractate of Nazir, we looked at the verses from Bamidbar, from Numbers. And there's a passage there, it's in the Parsha of Nassau, that describes all the prohibitions of being a Nazir, not touching grapes, not touching strong drink, not coming into contact with the dead, not cutting hair. And the verse says, Kol yemei neder nizro, all the days of the vow of his, all the days of the vows of his nezirut. Ta'alo yaval rosho, ad melot hayamim asher yazir lashem, kadosh yeh. He will be holy. All the days he will be holy. Kadosh yeh. If you look at the spelling of yeh, yud hey, the numerical equivalent of that is 30. Look, there are two heys that make 5 each, and there are two yuds that make 10 each, and 5 and 5 and 10 and 10 is 30. And you know, the Rambam is a rationalist. He's not normally going to learn something like this out of a gematria. But what he said, let's just carry on what he says. So we attach this idea of 30 days to the words kadosh yeh, to the he shall be holy, uminyan yeh shloshim, and the number of letters, the number of yeh is 30. Lefichach lo yeh nezirut pachot mi shloshim yom. So nezirut should be at least 30 days. And then he goes on to say, this is a really interesting comment. Veze inyan mekubal. This is a matter from tradition. So we are not really learning it out from the gematria, from the wordplay. This is a matter, we just have a tradition. Maybe the tradition comes from Moshe, from the mountain. We have a tradition, it's 30. But they attached it to a sign. So they knew it was 30 because they had the tradition. Rambam's and that he's a rationalist, so he believes in tradition. And then because they had the tradition, they attached it to the number of letters in the word. Not the other. Don't think it's the other way around. So a standard nezirut is 30 days. And all kinds of vaguenesses in language basically then add up to blocks of 30 days, because it can't be less than 30 days. So Amar, he said, Hare ani nazir achat gdola. He said, I'm nazir for one big one. Hare ani nazir achat ktana. I'm a nazir for one small one. Afilu, even if he said, Mikan ve'ad sof ha'olam, I'm going to be a nazir from here to the end of the earth. All these are vague expressions. You don't know what they mean. The result is Nazir shloshim yom. He gets 30 days. If we're not sure what he means, he gets 30 days. But, of course, 30 days is the minimum. So if he says, Hareni Yom Echad, or Hareni Nazir Sha'a Achat, behold, for one day. By the way, most commentators will interpret this, behold, and for one day. And by the way, most printed texts of the Mishnah have the word and. The Kaufman doesn't. And by the way, the Jerusalem Talmud doesn't. So there's a strong tradition not to have it, but the Mishnah doesn't make any sense without the word and. So I'm going to just translate it. Behold, and for one day. Even though the Hebrew says, Hareni Yom Echad, behold for one day. Hareni Nazir Sha'a Achat, behold, for I will be a Nazir 1 hour. Hareni Nazir Achat Umachtzeh, behold, I'm a Nazir for 1.5. What's the result? Harezeh Nazir Shtaim. He gets 2 intervals. He gets 1 interval for his first interval, and he gets another 30 days for his extra day or his extra hour, because we can't be a Nazir for less than 30 days. It works in blocks of 30 days for each successive vows. Now, if he includes everything in 1 time interval, so he says, Harani Shloshim Yom Ve'Sha'a Achat. Behold, I'm a Nazir for 30 days plus 1 hour. Then he just gets 31 days. Nazir Shloshim Ve'echad Yom. She'ein Nozrim Sha'ot. At that point, he is a Nazir for 31 days. He doesn't have to take 2 30-day blocks, because the 1 hour is rounded up to a day. We don't do nezirut in hours. We only do it in days. But that 1 hour rounded up to 1 day can get tacked on to his 30 days. So at this point, if he swears a specific period, he gets the exact period, providing it's more than 30 days. If he's a little bit vague about it, he just gets a 30-day block for every time interval that he mentions. And it gets worse. I am a Nazir as the hairs of my head. Gosh, that's a lot of nezirut. Or ka'afar haaretz, like the dust of the earth. Or kachol hayam, like the sands of the sea. He gives these enormous numbers. Hareze Nazir olam. Hareze Nazir olam umagaleach achat li shloshim yom. He becomes a life Nazir. This is not Nazir le'olam. Avshalom was Nazir le'olam, Nazir forever. And Avshalom shaved every year. But this is someone who he gets an infinite cycle of 30 days. He just gets, just like the number of hairs on his head, he gets one after another 30-day spell. That's what we mean by Nazir Olam. He becomes a life Nazir, and every 30 days, of course, the pattern breaks. So he can shave every 30 days, but then another 30-day cycle starts. And Rebbe's going to disagree. Rabbi Yudan Nasi is going to disagree. The halacha, by the way, doesn't go like Rebbe. But Rebbe says, Rebbe says, no. This guy doesn't shave every 30 days. So okay, so according to Rebbe, who is the guy that shaves every 30 days? Omer, Hare alai nezirut sa'a roshi. I'm going to have nezirut like the hair of my head. Vecha afar aretz, and like the dust of the earth. And like the sands of the sea. So there is a way of expressing this to if you like, to create the multiple cycles of 30 days. And this is the way Rebbe holds. Actually, the halacha doesn't go according to Rebbe. If he says, if he uses any of these expressions, he's in for it for his whole life, but at 30-day intervals.